He duct taped him. I never thought my marriage would end like this, over a haircut. But it wasn't just a haircut. It was control, power, and a betrayal so deep, it still hits me like a truck. My son was 8. He loved Vikings, heavy metal, battle cries, and warrior posters. Ever since he was 5, he'd insisted on growing his hair, said it made him feel strong. It was his identity. He loved that hair more than anything. And for years, everyone just let him be. Or at least I thought they did. Now, I grew up in a toxic household. Classic boys don't cry, man up, real men don't show emotions crap. They once smacked my nephew at a funeral for crying and laughed when a toddler had a tantrum. I cut them off completely. Years passed. Then they slowly came back around, and I let them in, but on my terms. My kid, my rules. They smiled to my face, but the judgment came out in little digs. Looks like a girl. Needs a barber, not a salon. Back in my day, we'd shave that nonsense off and teach him a lesson. I brushed it off until my son asked me if I'd love him more if he cut his hair. That was it. I told my family we were done again. No visits, no calls, no nothing. What I didn't expect was my husband. He never defended our son's hair. Never said anything negative either. But when my family made snide comments, he'd just sit there in silence. I once snapped at him, asked why he never had my back, and he shrugged. Said maybe our son would have an easier time if he looked like a boy. I told him I loved our son's hair like he loved his beer. Not necessary, but it made him happy. He dropped it, or so I thought. A few weeks later, I ran out to grab groceries. Just an hour. When I came back, I saw my grandfather's old beater truck in the driveway. Weird. I hadn't seen him in months. I walked inside, got that awful gut feeling. Then I heard the screaming. My heart stopped. I bolted upstairs. Hair on the hallway carpet. My son's voice, screaming bloody murder. I pushed open the bathroom door, and I'll never forget it. My baby was duct taped to a kitchen chair, his arms and legs bound. My husband was holding him down with one arm, shaving his head with the other. My grandfather stood in the corner watching like it was some kind of rite of passage. My son's eyes locked with mine. Mommy, help! I lost it. I shoved my husband so hard he fell backwards. I ripped the duct tape off. His skin came with it. His wrists and ankles were raw, red, like rug burn from hell. My husband tried to justify it. Said I was raising a weak boy. Said this was discipline. I didn't hear him. I grabbed my kid and drove straight to my sister Min's place. She opened the door and just hugged him. No questions. She got us inside and safe. At a gas station later, I lifted my son's shirt to check him over. That's when I saw the burns. Actual burns. He told me Grandpa had used a hot spoon on his back when he screamed too loud. That night, we didn't sleep. Min helped me photograph everything. The tape marks, the bruises, the hair. I called a lawyer first thing the next morning. Victoria Chen. Calm, sharp, all business. I showed her the photos. Her face changed, like a switch flipped. We filed for an emergency restraining order that day. Then came the calls. My husband, my grandfather, cousins I hadn't heard from in years. You're overreacting. You're breaking the family. It was just hair, gaslighting, guilt tripping, the whole circus. Min disconnected her landline. We got a P.O. box. My son started therapy with Dr. Cole, who said he was suffering from trauma. Bodily autonomy shattered. We made a plan, and we stuck to it. Then the stalking started. My husband would show up at grocery stores, parks, parking lots, always far enough to stay legal, but close enough to send a message. My grandfather once showed up at my son's school claiming he was a guardian. Thank God the school followed protocol. One day, Min found a plain envelope on her windshield. Inside were photos. Me and my son at the grocery store, at therapy, at Victoria's office. They were watching us. Then the custody filing came. My husband claimed I was mentally unstable, coaching our son to hate him, that I was emotionally abusive. His lawyer was some crusty old buddy of Grandpa's, called me overly emotional in court. Click the full story to see what happened next.